Thank you so much, Angus, for the warm welcome. Minister Hawke, around the primary school students, and the wonderful choir master and pianist. VIPs all, I'd like to mention you all by name, but they've given me a limited time to speak this morning. Friends all, being a citizen of the greatest country in the world is an honor that I have never taken for granted. Not a day goes by that I do not reflect in my prayers how, if not for this country, my ancestors, simply put, would have been murdered overseas just by virtue of their religion. My great-great-grandparents, the Sokochevskis, fled Poland nearly 100 years ago, faced with anti-Semitism at the time, to the beckoning and welcoming shores of Sydney, Australia. And not many years after that, their entire town's Jews in Pietrikov were sent to the death camp of Treblinka, where they were all brutally murdered. My mother's father, Rabbi Chaim Gutnick, of blessed memory, later to become Australia's leading rabbi, as a young teenager, fled the rabbinical seminary of Telz in Lithuania, where he was studying away from his family in England, on the last boat to successfully make it out before, there too, the Jews were rounded up and sent off to death camps. Young Chaim, who had already been orphaned from his father, had no way of communicating with his distraught mother back in London. And it wasn't until a few years later, when Chaim voluntarily enlisted in the Australian Army to fight the Nazis, did his mother Chaya in London see a front page of the Daily Mirror, and there was a picture there of Australian soldiers. She recognized her son Chaim as one of those soldiers, and it was then that she knew he was alive. After the war, they reunited on this great land. My family story is not unique by any means. Australia is full of immigrants from all backgrounds who have found a refuge here and have gone on to form the fabric of today's Australia through incredible contributions in our society. Some of the many Jewish contributors include Sir Isaac Isaacs, Australia's first Chief Justice who went on to become Governor-General, Sir John Monash, the genius general responsible for Australian victories in the First World War, and so many others, including our current treasurer, the Honourable Josh Frydenberg, himself from refugees who fled the Nazis. All of these people have one thing in common: the recognition that to be a good Australian citizen is to be a giving citizen. Drawing on the lives of those who came before me, including my parents, may they have long and healthy lives, who've given their all to community building, as a child I was inspired to grow up and give back to the country and community that has given me everything. As you may know by now, Australia's foremost values include the shared religious principles of being kind to the poor and the vulnerable, and uniting all of its citizens under the rule of law. Australia offers its people lives of peace, freedom, social cohesion, and opportunity like no other country on earth. And I don't say this lightly. Prior to COVID, I was quite the traveller. I've seen many other countries. However, freedom can never be taken for granted. My weekly inspirational quote to my community this past Friday was another shared religious principle, that freedom is not the right to do as you please. Rather, it is the liberty to do as you ought. As today's Australian citizens, each and every one of us, with no exception, shoulder the responsibility to not only maintain Australia as the best country on earth, but to constantly improve it to greater heights. Because if we're not going up, we're inevitably going down. And what makes Australian multiculturalism so unique in this world is that since modern-day Australia's inception, Australia has been multicultural. There were several Jews and people of other faiths and cultures on the first fleet that arrived here, and ever since. Never has it been an issue in Australia to practice your culture or religion freely, so long as you are doing it peacefully and leaving any prejudices against others outside of our peaceful shores. Thank God that in recent decades we have come full circle and are successfully embracing and showing appreciation for our first Australians who looked after this country for thousands of years and have come to deeply respect their contributions and culture. As a matter of fact, Australia is vastly richer as a result of this diversity. I like to view it like the colours of a rainbow. If the rainbow was just one colour, how boring would that be? It is the 7 distinctly different colours of the rainbow, once combined, that become a sight of beauty to behold. Being an Australian means that you're encouraged not to change who you are and what you believe. Keep practicing your unique culture, your religion, your beliefs, and so long as we are united under Australia's common values of respect, tolerance, and a fair go for all, you are an indispensable part of Australia's beauty. I offer my heartfelt congratulations to all of the new extensions of Australia's beautiful human landscape being inducted as citizens here today on this Harmony Week. And I pray for your collective success in the daily responsibility to remain true to yourselves and to your heritage, whilst at the same time contributing to the successful next chapter of Australia's story of celebrating its diversity. May God bless Australia and all of its inhabitants forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Feldman, for those words. Very inspiring, a lot for us to